Okay, friends, now that Halloween is over, it's officially time for Christmas.
No. We still have all of November and a whole holiday before Christmas.
No, that's just pre-Christmas.
Absolutely not. I know this is going to segue into something weird, and I'm not going to allow that to happen.
It's too late. It's already started.
Ugh.
Hello and welcome to The Real Deal, Ball State's premier entertainment news show. I'm your host, Owen DeWeese.
And I'm Gabby Kramer, the one with a reasonable timeline of holidays.
Listen, can you just let me have this? Christmas is the best time of the year. You get Christmas lights, indoor trees, the Justin Bieber Christmas album, eggnog.
Oh, so now you're a Justin Bieber fan?
No comment. But even if I was, what's the big deal?
No, we're not skipping past this like you skipped past calling Connor O'Connor handsome.
Okay, that week's writer room thought that was a funny line, but you wouldn't know about that now, would you? And we totally can skip past it. I thought that the show was dropping all the continuity. Anyway, we're doing it right now with the segment. Roll the segment.
No segment. You like Justin Bieber. Did you used to doodle his name in hearts in your notebook?
I'm not answering that. How come they listen to you when you want to use segments as an avoidance mechanism, but they don't do it with me?
Well, because they like me.
They don't like me. Come on, not even Kat?
Especially not Kat.
Not the two Drews? Or the Shadows? Or the Riders?
Nope.
Well, do you at least like me?
It varies from moment to moment.
All right, that hurts.
And now on to the segment.
Hello, I'm Nathan Hill, and welcome to Something for Nothing, the segment in which I teach you about places where you can find movies, games, and entertainment for free. Our first two segments regarded the two major players in the free streaming world, Pluto TV and Tubi. While the selection of content worth watching on each of these two platforms is small compared to more premium offerings, it can't be denied that they do what they set out to do it well, and have enjoyed success because of it. Other streaming services haven't been so lucky. Today, we take a look at Crackle, a failed streaming service that Sony sold to the people that make those chicken soup for the soul books, which means you know we're in for a good time. While Tubi and Pluto TV's libraries are largely comprised of a scattershot collection of B-tier content with a few higher profile selections bringing up the rear, Crackle's library has no such through line, being one of the most uneven and bizarre libraries of any streaming service I've seen to date. If one were to pick a theme for its content, I'd suspect that above all else, the most applicable would be already owned by Sony. Looking at the TV section, one will find a grab bag of corny 50s and 60s sitcoms such as My Favorite Martin, Father Knows Best, and The Partridge Family, which, amusingly, is presented alongside its dismal 70s Hanna-Barbera spin-off / Jetsons clone, Partridge Family 22,000 AD, which is a thing that exists. Interestingly, the Hanna-Barbera I Dream of Jeannie show is also represented on the service, yet the genuine article is nowhere to be found. Slightly more modern British sitcoms that modern audiences might actually get something out of are also on the service. Here we have 90s Irish favorite Father Ted at a breezy 25 episodes produced over 3 years. That's British television for you. In addition to the original British version of Shameless. In a surprising change of pace, the animation selection, while small and devoid of the anime which largely comprises the roster of Tubi and Pluto TV's animation catalog, has some Western animated programs 100% worth your time. Its crew, consisting almost of the entirety of the staffers on seasons 1 to 4 of The Simpsons. The Critic is a similarly irreverent referential show that was taken from us far too soon, yet maintains a dedicated cult following to this day. The animation adaptation of Dilbert is also here, surpassing the original comic strip in almost every way in terms of its humor. Less worth your time is King of the Hill's failed sister series, The Good Family. Mike Judge's ill-fated, weak-willed attempt at satirizing 2000s leftists in the same way he pokes fun at Texas conservatism in the aforementioned Hill. As for its film collection, the classic screwball comedies that are the Naked Gun trilogy are featured, as are a few B-tier earnest films. No Saves Christmas or Goes to Camp here, folks. The infamous Michael Bay TMNT flick is here, as is the nostalgic classic that is the first Spy Kids film. One film the service is desperate to let you know it has the rights to is the first Paddington, a film better known for its sequel enjoying the prestigious ranking of 100% on Rotten Tomato for the 3 years straight. Finally, fans of classic slasher flicks can also find Friday the 13th Part 2, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on the service. Sadly, there is no Jason X. All in all, the service gives off an air of why bother. Despite what one might think, the service was not created in the midst of the streaming boom of the late 2010s, but instead as early as 2004 under the name Grouper, which Sony reshaped in the Crackle upon purchasing the brand in 2007. Considering how long the service has been around, the small selection despite Sony's massive backlog of content, and the fact that Sony willingly sold it off to, I must repeat, the chicken soup for the soul people. I suspect the service is held back by Sony knowing they can license their properties out to other streaming services for more capital, leaving only the programs nobody's really clamoring to license for Crackle itself. Still, some of the films and series here are absolutely worth watching, like The Critic, Father Ted, and the Naked Gun films. It may not have representation from Sony's properties like Ghostbusters, the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, or The Karate Kid, but hey, it's as they say. I'm Nathan Hill, and you get what you pay for.
Thank you for that lovely segment.
I'm going to have to start bringing cookies to the whole crew to get them to like me or something, because I would love the power of cutting to a segment.
Oh, it's gonna take a lot more than cookies.
That's awfully bold coming from someone who's never been to a writer's room. Not once.
I forget, okay? I have no object permanence.
Sure, Gabby.
It's true. Well, you didn't go to a few writers' rooms. What's your excuse?
First of all, I completely blame Kat. They always change the time of the writers' rooms way too often. And secondly, I wrote an entire freaking episode of this show. That makes me exempt from, like, some of the future writers' rooms. They just don't want the power going to my head. They know I'll become unstoppable.
You definitely do have a big head.
Hey!
Would you rather I lie?
Actually, yes. Tell me lies to make me feel better about myself. I didn't ask for this massive dome.
Shame.
Well, you know what? Since you are being so mean to me, I think I should get to introduce the next segment.
We already established that I'm the only one that gets to do that.
Oh yeah? Watch this. Next segment.
How's it going, guys? I'm back with an all-new film review. As you might remember from my previous film review, I have started a series where I review popcorn from various movie theaters before seeing the movie I talk about in my segment. And you wouldn't believe it, I'm back at it again with another episode. So before I do my film review on the movie Dune, I'm going to send it off to Drew from the past and introduce to you the second episode of Drew Goes to the Movies. Hit it! Drew Goes to the Movies. Alright, real deal folks, popcorn review time. A little bit different of a situation we're in right now. Obviously not in a movie theater like what we did with our last episode. Plans got changed a little bit. I was supposed to see Dune at IMAX in Muncie, right here in Muncie. Plans got changed. Couldn't actually go to it. Not like I'm sick or anything like that. Just plans changed, but it's okay. Good thing about the whole pandemic and stuff like that is the implementation, I think, of streaming services. So I was able to actually watch on HBO Max right here at my own home. And with that, I got a bowl of popcorn. This is, I think, is just like some great value Walmart popcorn, but still, it's popcorn that needs to be reviewed. We need to talk about this. Anyways, give this popcorn a little bit of a taste. One bite, everybody knows the rules. I mean, I just got it out of the microwave too, so I might give that some points for being really warm, which is good. Not really like buttery compared to the last one we did. It's kind of bland almost. Kind of a little salty, but it's okay. Great value Walmart popcorn. It's okay. If I had to give her a rating, I'd probably say, I don't know, this is like a 4.9, honestly. 4.9, I'd say. It's okay. Anyways, that's the popcorn review. Now we'll send it off to future Drew with the film review on Dune. Drew went to the movies.
Thanks again, Drew from the past, for that wonderful popcorn review, even though it wasn't too great. You know, I think this is really shaping up, and I think I'm really looking at popcorn in a whole new way now it's going great. Now with my popcorn review done, let's talk about what I saw this past week. Dune. Dune is a sci-fi action movie directed by the very talented Denis Villeneuve. You might know him from the likes of Arrival, Prisoners, and Blade Runner 2049. Dune is adapted from the 1965 novel by Frank Herbert. It follows a young boy by the name of Paul Atreides, played by Timothée Chalamet. He quickly learns of his ability of being able to dream of the future and sees very horrifying things that scares him into thinking his family, the House of Atreides, are far from safe. The Atreides are one of the major houses, led by their leader, Leto Atreides, played by Oscar Isaac. Paul begins to have visions of a girl, part of a group called the Fremen. The Fremen live on the planet called Arrakis, where they have one of their rarest resources known in the galaxy, which is spice. Now, many of the houses from around the galaxy come to this planet to harvest this spice in hopes of making financial profits for their houses. Paul begins to see that the other houses plan to attack one another and bring an end to the House of Atreides, hoping to end the entire family line before taking their percentage of the spice for their own. After Paul explains his visions to his family, he is quickly considered to be the Lisan al-Gaib, or the Messiah, being called by his mother, Jessica Atreides, played by Rebecca Ferguson, to be the one that can bridge the gap between the past and the future. While Paul continues to discover these visions, a war is planning to begin as the House of Harkonnens plan to get rid of the Atreides. The rest of Dune sets off at the beginning of this war as Paul begins to maneuver around the planet of Arrakis and ensure the safety of his family. One thing that really sucked for me was that I was unable to see this film in IMAX, which is what many consider to be the only way to really watch Dune. While I do intend on seeing it again in theaters and in IMAX this time, I have to say that the visuals for Dune alone were nothing less than incredible. Every shot is so expansive and has such a level of detail and atmosphere that I think I have to watch it twice or maybe even 3 times to catch every little thing shown. The acting performances overall were great, and while we were speaking of acting, the cast for this one was really incredible. Returning from the past Villeneuve movies is Josh Brolin, who I really wish I saw more of, but from what we did see of him, I thought he was really good. Also starring is Zendaya, Jason Momoa, Dave Bautista, and Javier Bardem as Stilgar. Everyone did such a phenomenal job, and I was really impressed. The music too was another thing I enjoyed, as Hans Zimmer was the one that produced the music for this one. Everything was so wide and expanse, and there's a lot here in Dune that I need to discover still. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this one, and it left me very excited for the second part, which is supposed to come out in 2023. If you haven't already seen Dune, then I highly recommend you see it, and more specifically in IMAX, which is what I intend to be doing when I see it again soon. That's all I have for you this week. I'm Drew Schuler, and I will see you all next time.
Wow, they actually listened to you that time.
Like I said, that's what you get for being mean to me. Also, I've done that like a million times before. They're on YouTube if you don't believe me.
No, it was entirely out of pity.
What? No, that can't be true.
It is.
It is.
What the heck? What did I do to deserve this?
You angered the head writer. That's what you did.
How? I didn't do anything.
Exactly. You didn't show up to the writer's room.
And I'd do it again. Or I wouldn't do it again.
Oh, so now you're evil? Okay.
I'm calling it. I'm not evil. I'm just...
Hey besties. I hope everyone's Halloween weekend was great. I personally spent mine recovering from a hectic few weeks. In particular, I wasted most of my Sunday by unintentionally binging Netflix's Inside Job. Inside Job is a Netflix original cartoon that aired on October 22nd, just a few weeks ago at this point. The show was written by Shion Takeuchi, who is known most notably for writing Regular Show, and produced by Alex Hirsch, who created Gravity Falls. Despite airing on networks aimed towards younger audiences, both of these shows had large followings that have continued to this day, and I expect the same will be true of Inside Job. The show has a similar writing style and approach to its comedy. However, unlike their predecessors, Inside Job is not PG. Essentially, the show follows an organization called Cognito Inc., which is part of the corporate underworld that acts as a shadow government. As such, each episode focuses on how Cognito Inc. operates and competes with other shadow organizations. However, the conspiracy theories and world orders that are orchestrating world events are really just the backdrop to what's really going on in the show. The show follows Reagan Ridley, a child prodigy who's worked her whole life to become CEO of Cognito Inc. But at the start of the show, she is a burnout department head working towards a promotion. Lots of things have contributed to this burnout. Incompetent department heads, who she works with on a daily basis, promotions that have gone to undeserving colleagues, and most notably, her relationship with her father. Without spoiling anything, it's clear throughout the show how this relationship has affected her, all of which leads up to an explosive season finale. The show's approach to its relationships is simultaneously comedic and somehow very real. For that reason, I could easily see this show turning into a BoJack Horseman type existential drama comedy, or I could see it staying in the same vein as something like Futurama. When Netflix initially greenlit the project, it was intended to be no more than 20 episodes. However, given that Part 1, which is all that's on Netflix as of now, only has 10 episodes, it's guaranteed that 10 more episodes of the show are coming to Netflix sometime in 2022. Even more, given the high regards that the show has gotten from both critics and audiences alike, it's safe to assume that Netflix would order a second season of the show. As of now, though, we're only guaranteed the 10 more episodes, so I'm literally begging you, please go watch this show, because I desperately need more. I'm Drew Wilberger, and I will see you next time.
And now I can't even finish my sentences. We didn't even try to segue to a segment this time. I'm definitely going to writer's room this week, and I'm going to write an episode to clown on you.
Like I told you, don't anger the producers. I have this special bond with them because we all went missing together. You have nothing.
How was I supposed to know that I wouldn't get kidnapped too? Besides, it was not a team bonding exercise, it was kidnapping.
I mean, we did get our memories wiped, so for all we know, it was team bonding.
Don't talk to me.
Now that Owen is being a child...
I'm not a child, I'm a legal adult.
I thought you told me not to talk to you.
I quit.
Perfect, because it's time for our final word.
Hey, now that it's not Halloween time, I can finally get back into the regular stuff. Today I'm going to talk about the 1973 Kung Fu classic Enter the Dragon, directed by Robert Klaus, rest in peace, and featuring one of the greatest martial artists of all time, Bruce Lee, rest in peace, with supporting roles from fellow actors and martial artist John Saxon, rest in peace, and Jim Kelly, you guessed it, rest in peace. This movie was the last one that Bruce Lee got to finish before he died, and it's definitely significant. The movie follows Lee, played by Bruce Lee, a highly proficient martial artist, really creative guys, who was approached by a British intelligence agent investigating a fighting tournament hosted by a suspected crime lord and big-ticket opium trader, Han. Lee agrees to go check it out, and shortly before he heads to the private island that Han is hiding out at, Lee learns that the man who killed his sister will be there, and that he's the guy's bodyguard. It will come as no surprise to you that this movie has lots of awesome moments, because it's a freaking Bruce Lee flick. It's hard to give a more detailed summary of the plot, because it's a mess, and anything else I say is just a spoiler. And I know you know how much I want you all to watch the movies I talk about here. However, there is a lot of cool stuff that went on behind the scenes. With a budget of $850,000, they were able to hire some talent. $840,000 of that went into post-production, where they added a few hundred punching and kicking sound effects that are extremely noticeable. That was a joke. But what isn't a joke is that the entire movie was filmed without sound. All of the dialogue and sound effects and whatever else I'm not mentioning here was just actually added in post. The movie ended up being a massive box office hit and made about $350 million. But keep in mind that about 90% of the people in the movie were not really actors. They were martial artists who liked to act. In fact, the main reason that John Saxon was even cast was because he had a black belt. Many claim that this movie was the reason for the U.S.'s kung fu craze back in the 70s and 80s, and I don't doubt that for a second. After the movie, we got Steven Seagal and Jackie Chan, who was actually in the movie. He was an extra on the island, and Bruce Lee accidentally hit him in the face with a fighting stick. I forgot the name, so I didn't put it in the script. He immediately apologized and promised that Chan would be in every one of his movies afterwards. Considering Lee died a few months later, he never got to make good on that promise. Bruce Lee was also very nervous about this movie, and it was noted that he missed quite a few days of filming, and he used cannabis a lot in between the scenes. This movie was basically his baby, and he worried that the States wouldn't be able to accept the Chinese movie hero. As we know now, that was definitely not the case. Despite the ridiculousness of the entire movie and the not so easy to follow plot, it's become a classic movie that is pretty sweet. There is some nudity, drug use, and lots of blood, so if you want to watch it with grandma and grandpa and all the kids, I would strongly suggest watching a Disney movie instead. But that's all I have today, That's all I have for today, so I'm going to hand it back over to my lovely co-host, who keeps bullying me for some reason today.
Alrighty, I know the past few times I've kept y'all updated on what is happening in the media news world, but this week has been rather boring. Facebook changed their name to Meta, by the way. And I am foaming at the mouth angry about something, so I'm gonna talk about it. Hoyser, babes, what the heck, man? My seasonal depression is brewing, and I want nothing more than to sit in my room and listen to this 6'6" Irish gentle giant sing me some gorgeous folk music. But no, I'm on a losing streak, and unfortunately, Hozier has added to it. 4 days ago, the artist came out with a new song, Tell It to My Heart, a project collaborating with a group called Medusa. Obviously, I rushed to listen to the song. I was elated. I failed to realize that the genre of this new song is not folk as I had hoped. Rather, Hozier released an EDM song. Just what the doctor ordered, some nice electronic dance music. In all seriousness, I really did not hate the song, and to be honest, I can definitely bust some moves out to this song, and I want to hear it at parties. But if you're a Hozier fan, you're probably in the same boat as I am, where it's like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. I wanted an apple, but you gave me an orange, or a banana, really, but it's fine. Fruit is fruit. That's what all of us thought collectively. But anyways, go stream Tell It to My Heart on Spotify because I love this man and I want him to be happy. But if you want the real Hozier experience, go stream the album Hozier, specifically Cherry Wine, if you want a good cry.
Awesome. Well, if you want more from us here at The Real Deal, you can check out our Facebook, Twitter, and website for all things entertainment. I'm your host, Owen DeWeese.
And I'm Gabby Kramer. See you next time on The Real Deal.